welcome to our second webinar, the Basic Borrego Springs Basic Webinar Series. My name is Urmi Ray. I am in the Board of Directors for Basic, and I'd like to welcome you to the second of the webinar series. Today, BASIC stands for Basic Assistance to Students in the Community. Most of you are familiar with the organization and have supported us, and thank you very much for that. But for people who are new to this organization, just wanted to talk about where we are. Borrego Springs is an isolated community in San Diego County. It's far eastern corner of San Diego County, about 70 miles as the crow flies from San Diego, the city of San Diego or the port of San Diego, and very close actually to the Arizona border. But because of its geographical situation, it's very, very isolated and faces the challenges that rural communities face. We talked about it quite a bit in the first webinar that was held earlier. Today, I'm just going to talk about why we're launching this webinar series. It's basically a form of communication for us. We are inviting all of you to get together to know BASIC a little bit better. You may know us from a long time, have been supporting us, but this is our opportunity to get a deeper dive into all the programs that we've been doing for a long time, some of the new programs that we've introduced, and find out the details of some of those programs that you may be interested in. And last but not the least, learn about volunteer opportunities and how you can support us and continue to support us through either your time or financial support. So this is just a quick update or review of the webinar series. We have planned a 4-part series. The first one was 2 weeks back. It was talking about our overall program, the Cradle to Graduation, and Dolly Parton Imagination Library that we completed last 2 weeks back. Today, you'll hear about a very exciting new program that we launched a year and a half back, which is the Latino Family Literacy Program. On January 31st, which is Friday afternoon, we are going to hear about the scholarships program, which is one of the longer lasting programs that we've supported as BASIC. This webinar was originally scheduled on January 22nd, but had to be rescheduled due to power issues in Borrego Springs. And then finally, last but not the least, please join us on February 5th, same time for our Summer Learning Academy series. And for more information and to register, visit this particular link here below. And with that, I'll hand it over to one of our founders, Joanne Stang, who will talk about the Latino Family Literacy Program. But before I hand it off to Joanne, a big thank you for all the supporters like yourselves. We really, really appreciate you, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you very much. And with that, I'll stop sharing and hand it over to Joanne and Nydia.
Thank you, Urmi. I can see that Nydia is working on the slides. I'm Joanne Stang. Yes, I have been with BASIC from its beginning. And I think before we talk about the Latino Family Literacy Program, I want to bring you up to date on how we got to this program. As you may have heard in a former webinar, BASIC has a history of more than 30 years in Borrego Springs. Actually, my husband was one of the founders along with Bill Wright, but they started the organization to teach kids in Borrego how to fly airplanes. They were both pilots, And they thought that learning to fly an airplane and soloing an airplane when you were 17 years old was something that built a lot of confidence and self-esteem and all sorts of other things in kids of that age. They ran the program for a couple of years and taught a lot of kids how to fly, but they ran out of new people to teach and thought about what they should be doing. The organization, after the third or fourth year, transitioned from teaching people to fly and running the airport, which they did for 1 year, to a program that would be providing educational support. Teaching kids to fly was education anyway. That would be providing educational support for all the residents of Borrego Springs. And the first programs, and the program that lasted till now, but is the longest running, is the scholarship program. So for many years, Basic provided scholarships for students coming out of high school, for students continuing on their education, for adults, for training, skills training, for nurses or people who wanted to be in the care support industry, for learning how to be a caregiver. A lot of scholarships were provided, but probably about 10 years ago, Basics leadership started to think about whether scholarships were enough support to really provide help for all of the residents of Borrego to achieve their goals and objectives as it relates to educational support. So a little project of research, looking at what we were doing, looking at what's possible, and looking at what really research evidence would tell us is critical in an education journey, led us to understand that education starts at birth. And if we're going to be supportive of the education process, we should be thinking about how to support students, individuals, kids, adults, from birth on through to the time of getting scholarships to go on to higher or different education. That led us to really form what we now call our Cradle to Graduation C2G program, which looks at critical junctures on the education journey that are recognized as places where support or proficiency must be achieved in order to move on with the best possible outcomes. So the first of those critical junctures that we looked at was reading, which is in the third or fourth grade for proficiency in math for middle schoolers. And that really led us to start our Learning Academy project. This webinar 2 after this one, we'll talk about Learning Academy in detail. It's a summer 4-week program in Borrego to give a boost to students who need some extra assistance to achieve proficiency in reading and math at those critical levels. As we then thought more about critical junctures, we saw the data that said children who are read to and have that kind of support from birth up to kindergarten are going to be better prepared for kindergarten. And in fact, the data would say that in third grade, they're still doing better than children who have not been exposed to books and reading. So that would have been about 3 years ago, 2.5 or 3 years ago, that we started looking for how we could provide programs to provide support for parents, families, caregivers to understand the importance of reading to their children from birth and to develop good skills so that they could do it in a very comfortable manner. That led us to the Latino Family Literacy Program. The Latino Family Literacy Program is a program that's created by a group in Pasadena called Lectura Books. And they provide the materials, but we provide the sessions, the support, the fun, the program. I think we might move to a next slide. The Latino Family Literacy Project is one that meets these goals. Reading to a child is perhaps the single most beneficial thing a parent can do. No question about that. There are studies that show that just the difference between a parent talking with a child and a parent reading to a child provides different brain level activity that's more indicative of learning. The program, next slide, please. The program is a program that we conduct in Spanish. It actually has some cultural significance. It tends to be associated with the Mexican cultural perspective, and it's a fun program. Parents, caregivers meet for 90-minute sessions. Depending on the program, it could be 6 or 7 or 8 times, different weeks. But the session is meant to be lots of fun. It has food, it has fellowship, we have caregiving, and our program has been conducted at several different locations throughout our Borrego Community Resource Center, elementary school, and we're going to the Children's Resource Center. You can see people are having a good time. That's part of what Latino Family Literacy Program is about. Next slide, please. The other part that it's about is that it is helping people establish a reading routine with their children. Each week there's a book. It's a bilingual book to be read both in Spanish and English, or Spanish or English as the family chooses. And it provides practice in reading. It provides fun with books, and it gives parents an opportunity to spend that critical time with their children so that they focus on the kids and have something very special to do with the children. You can see here that we have a group for birth to 2. Those books are different than the other group, which is 3, 4, and 5-year-old or pre-kindergarten kids. The preschool children have books that help them learn things that are important to know by the time you get to kindergarten, things like colors, shapes, letters, numbers. The earlier books are introducing vocabulary and the reading and introducing books. So you know what to do with a book rather than just put it in your mouth. You know how to open it, and you begin to develop a love of books. Next slide, please. So far, you can see lots of happy people with certificates here. We've had 3 sessions completed. The first 2 sessions were for the preschoolers. Then we did a toddler session in the fall, and there's another session coming up in March. All the sessions are free. Our funding is provided by grants that we've been able to secure to support these programs. And everybody is invited who has children in this group. These are mostly looking like moms in this picture, but we have dads who've attended also. We'd love to have grandmas, no problem, aunts and uncles too, because they're all part of the support system of reading to a child. Next slide, please. Our sessions are fun sessions. They're not just learn how to read a book sessions, although there are books every time, and each week provides different books, and the family takes that book home and keeps it, building their own home library. Along with the books, though, we have a good time, food and fellowship, and childcare, all important, so that the parents can focus on their group activities and the books while our child care providers are taking care of children and helping kids play lots of educational games and fun things to do that also sort of stimulate them, including a reading group for the children in childcare. I told you that everybody gets a book every week. We also have a program that provides additional beyond book support for pre-K development. You see the little thing down there on the bottom of the screen that says AppSeed, but then it says 30 million or something there. That little blue thing is a sort of tablet computer. It doesn't communicate. It's very easy to use. It's also protected for children so that it's hardened and can be dropped. But the AppSeed is loaded with programs that are fun, musical, educational, interactive. All of those programs are focused on the kinds of things that kids need to know to be kindergarten ready. We give app seeds to all the children who are pre-kindergarten in every family who comes to the Latino Family Literacy Program. You can't give one child in your family an app seed and have a war on who's going to be using the computer, who's going to be using the little thing. So every child gets their own, which means the programs on there are designed for different age groups so that children can use them from really quite small up into kindergarten years for different things, but they're very safe. They can't communicate with anything. They can't accept any additional information. They are just tablets that are fun to play with, and that play is all learning. You can see here, we say that our programs are culturally relevant. That means that they're in Spanish. We have a lot of fun that has cultural relevance. And another important part of the program is that there is a library visit, and every family, every parent gets a library card. It's not only a library card, it's an introduction to our wonderful Borrego Springs library, a library that has a lot of programming also for children and has a wonderful kids area that children can visit anytime. So we introduce them to the library. One thing that we don't have on this slide is the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. You heard about that in the previous webinar, but all of the families are invited, if they aren't already enrolled, have their pre-5-year-old, up to 5-year-old children in Dolly Parton Imagination Library. All the families are invited to have their children enrolled in the Dolly Parton Imagination Library so that they get a really good book each month from the Dolly Parton program from birth up to age 5. Next slide, please. So we've talked about the fun, we've talked about the fellowship, we've talked a little bit about the importance of reading to a child on a regular basis. All these things are shared with the participants in the program, and we ask them, are you doing it? We get feedback in our surveys that say that 90% of our program participants actually have developed a reading routine. And what we ask is, are you reading with your children for 15 minutes a day, 5 days out of a week? It looks like we're getting some good results. Parents obtaining a library card, most of them go to the library with us. And when you go to the library with us, you get a library card. Hopefully that introduction to the library encourages them to go back and enjoy the library programs and the books and that sort of thing too. So Latino Family Literacy Program is a recent program in the last 2 years. It's very much focused on the early child because we understand that reading to a child on a regular basis from the time they're born has a tremendous impact and great benefit in helping them become good students from the beginning and kids who are going to be better prepared for kindergarten and actually be better prepared and doing better in school, even up to third grade. It's a great program. It's a lot of fun. And we're very happy to be doing it on a regular basis. Ermi, do you have any questions?
Um, uh, yeah, I do. But thank you so much, Joanne. I'll hold the question until we have a chance. We have two videos lined up, kind of complementing all the wonderful things you talked about, Joanne. We'd like to play it for the audience because it'll give you look into the programs as they're happening and some of the coverages we have received through our local news channels. So with that, I would
Super.
ask Nydia to play the video. Next slide, please.
And now, if you give a child a book, an ABC 10 News special.
Good evening. Welcome to our If You Give a Child a Book special. I'm Jared Aarons.
And I'm Melissa Masiha. For the next half hour, we will look at the efforts to get free books into the hands of children and how opening those books can open up all kinds of possibilities.
We're also putting a spotlight on the organizations and the people working to improve literacy across San Diego. All right, still ahead, we are bringing attention to Borrego Springs. The work to overcome the unique literacy issues facing that isolated desert town. Hours from downtown San Diego is the small desert town of Borrego Springs. It's in the middle of Anza Borrego Desert Park, and that isolates it from the rest of the county. That isolation can sometimes mean the town and the thousands of people who call it home get forgotten. So the organization BASIC, or Basic Assistance for Students in the Community, is trying to level that playing field. It has programs helping kids from cradle to graduation. There's the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which we talked about. There's also a 10-week Latino Family Literacy Program meant to help parents establish a reading habit with their children. And Learning Academy, a 4-week program helping students get caught up in grade level for reading, writing, and math.
Yes, so that's our coverage of our programs through our main San Diego channel, ABC 10, which is actually in the city of San Diego. Next, we'll play a video which will talk about some of the programs that are as they're happening, interviews with the parents, etc. So that's what we can launch up now, Nydia.
The Latino Family Literacy Project is designed to bring families closer while fostering early literacy skills. Parents and children read together using bilingual books from Lectura Books. We also provide AppSeed tablets, preloaded with educational tools to support language development and school readiness. This program is enriching how families engage with learning and building a foundation for future success. Now, let's hear from parents who've experienced the impact of this program.
It's important to me. Like I said before in previous discussion, I have a 5-month-old and I'll have more kids in the future. It's just prepping me to teach them more and more. Para mí es muy importante porque me ayudó a la convivencia más con lectura para mi niño. Aparte a mí me ayudó mucho en base a mejorar mi inglés porque conjunto con él leía y o sea, era una lectura bilingüe y nos ayudó mucho a los dos, además de que la lectura la hicimos una rutina y se hizo como un hábito cada noche para leer.
The community and fellowship and being around other moms and having conversation with them, and also like the books because it's there in Spanish and English, and there's like a variety of books.
I think that's the last video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We are going to talk about the upcoming webinars. And in the meantime, if anyone in the audience has any questions, please enter it through the chat function, and we'll address it at the end of the webinar. We have another just this discussion. Can you go back one slide, Nydia, please? Just wanted to talk about the upcoming webinars. We have one on Friday, January 31st. That's actually at a different time at 4 p.m. And then the Summer Learning Academy, which is on Wednesday, February 5th. So if you're interested, please sign up for those programs. And also the last slide, which is, we're always available. Thank you very much for your support, but you can contact us anytime. With that, I will be taking the questions. Let's see, there's a question from Arijit on the chat. He says, please let me know if I can help. I may be primarily able to help high schoolers with their career and studies. This is from Arijit. Thank you very much, Arijit. Yes, we are absolutely looking for mentorship and really support in math, which is extremely important. So we'll be looking forward to working with you. I'm sure that the students would be really happy to be working with you. Thanks very much for joining also. That
Thank
great
you.
question.
Thanks for inviting. Sure.
Thank you. And if there's no other questions, I had one, Joanne. I know working in the community, walking in a Christmas circle, I get asked a lot, this is how do we find out about some of these about these new programs, especially this new Latino family program? How do we register? What should we do? So could you please address that question?
We have a lot of advertisement about the Latino Family Literacy Program, flyers around Borrego, social media. We're on all the social media platforms, and our website has information at borregobasic.org. All of those sorts of communication vehicles are trying to reach out and find people. Our program leader goes to many, many activities and many gatherings around Borrego, and always has information and is always willing to share information about Latino Family Literacy Program or any of our other programs. You'll see us with a table up and a blue skirt on, and information and books and things to draw attention to our programs. And all of those, any place you see us, you can ask questions. How do I get enrolled? Where do I find more information? All those kinds of things. Anybody who's wearing a basic logo at any of these functions can always provide information, as well as those things that are posted on social media and other platforms.
Yes, thank you, Joanne. And I just wanted to add to that, a lot of the social media now we have are also are bilingual. We try to also address the language appropriate translation through social media, as well as our flyers also are bilingual. In addition, I just wanted to make a pitch for the upcoming session, which is starting next Tuesday. Nydia and Floor, would you like to say anything about the upcoming session?
Yeah, so we do have the next semester coming up, and that's February 4th through March 25th. We start with a small little parent orientation and have a glorious closing ceremonies where everyone receives their certificate, which you saw a couple of pictures already of previous closing ceremonies. It's a big feast. Parents come together. We also have a gathering coming up this Friday. You can reach out to us at the contact information. If you know of any parent that would like to participate and learn more about the program, really that gathering is more for getting a follow-up on previous participants and see how they're doing or how we can continue assisting with them. And yeah, they're fun sessions like Joanne had expressed. And more than anything, it's an opportunity for our families to fellowship and come together for one common cause, and that's for the betterment of their children through reading and literacy, increasing or improving literacy skills. So, yeah, um, do join us.
Yes, exciting. These are again in the evening. Typically, they start at 6 p.m., Nydia?
Yeah, 6 to 7:30 p.m.
6 to 7:30. So it's so that parents, it's after work, and as we mentioned, childcare is also provided. So everybody is joining together, and learning and socializing at the same time, along with the children. So I think it's a great program. I've attended a few of them, and it's just absolutely exciting.
Yeah. Mhm.
If we don't have anything else, I don't think there's any further questions, then we can wrap up today. Thank you everybody for attending. We will be putting up the video recording soon on our website, and you can get further information on any of the programs using the contact us that we have on the screen right now. So thanks, Joanne, Nydia, for attending and working, it's not just attending, for presenting in this webinar. And we will look forward to hosting the two other webinars, one this week and one next week. Bye, everyone.